What is happening, Reject Nation? Greg here. If you have your notification bells turned on for this channel, no, this is not a re-upload. John covered this trailer for the Suicide Squad, trailer number 2, by himself yesterday, and I'm covering this by myself the same day of, except it's probably going up on Friday morning. Here's what's happening in real time. It's 11:49 p.m. John's supposed to be here in about 10 minutes so we could cover the Falcon and the Winter Soldier this Thursday night. I got back from the airport about 30 minutes ago, and I've been gone all week. So John's been watching my home, and on top of that too, he's been manning down the ship of the real rejects, leading the charge, looking at the comments. People are responding in a way as if it's the first time he's ever done solo videos, when it's not. I'm saying that only because the response has been unanimously, overwhelmingly positive for the videos he has produced on his own this week for YouTube. Congratulations to him. He's been doing such an excellent, fantastic job. I've seen the videos myself. Go check them out. The only one I haven't seen is obviously his reaction for this exact trailer, only because, you know, I have to watch the trailer myself. It only makes sense that I avoid it. I'm not doing it to be a dick. Maybe I should watch it though, so I make sure we don't have the same overlap and shit. Or what I can do is watch his and then go, oh, I could say better stuff. Or you guys can just watch both of ours and then see what we said that is similar, post-reaction commentary and what is different. Anywho, he's gonna be here in 9 minutes. Let's watch this. So live fast, die clown.
Sad souls in costumes. Want you to think they're all dark and deep. What's it like? Living life as a punchline. But all it would take would be one blessed act of rebellion.
Ratcatcher.
For you to restore your dignity in its entirety.
Was that the Thinker talking?
Mission, you get 10 years off your sentence. You fail to follow my orders in any way, and I detonate the explosive device in the base of your skull.
Love them or hate them, these are your brothers and sisters for the next few days.
Oh, you get a close look at Mongal for the first time.
Any questions? Yes, that is your hand.
Hey, yo, King Shark is a shark.
We're all gonna die. I hope so. Oh, for God's sake.
I thought it was the song. The beat was. Love the Weasel looks. Polka dot man.
This is suicide.
Oh, that's kind of a thing.
Yo! Detachable! Oh!
They call you Peacemaker?
I cherish peace with all my heart. I don't care how many men, women, and children I need to kill to get it.
I thought you were the crazy one.
Love that Peacemaker speech. Oh, Starro, you be so cool.
The information you give us is false. You die.
If we find out you have personalized license plates, you die.
What? No.
Yeah. That's badass. Wow. Feels so different than the other trailer. I love that. The other trailer was a lot more fun, you know, a lot more punchy. And then the opening monologue here, which I think that is Peter Capaldi, his character, the Thinker. I love the dialogue. Oh, you guys are trying to act all dark and serious. You know, how does it feel to live your life as a punchline? And I feel like that's such a great reflective commentary for kind of what James Gunn does with a lot of his characters. If that is Peter Capaldi talking, either way, it doesn't matter who. Like the fact that they're talking about the Suicide Squad, and you see the colorful list of characters that James Gunn has assembled here for the team. You know, a lot of them seem like they can be just silly when you first look at them. A lot of them don't look instantly badass. Not all of them are Bloodsport, right? You got people like Javelin and Polka Dot Man and Weasel, who look kind of goofy when you first see them. What I think this movie will deliver on, even though one of the taglines for this movie is don't get too attached, I feel like maybe some of them will die in just a funny way. Maybe some of them will be so short-lived. I feel like someone maybe like Pete Davidson's Blackguard will be a short-lived character, and they might just die in a funny way. But I feel like for those who are sticking around for at least a good amount of the film, ones who might seem a little bit goofy at first, like Polka Dot Man, who I am championing for, so excited about that. Polka Dot Man is something that just sounds goofy, but his powers, if captured properly, can be something that is truly badass and awesome. And I just want to take a sidestep here. I put something out about this on Twitter about David Dastmalchian, who's playing Polka Dot Man. He is one of those character actors in comic book medium who I think is severely under-recognized. He's in the Flash TV show, he's in The Dark Knight, he's in Gotham, he's in the Suicide Squad now, he's in Ant-Man. He's been in like a whole bunch of comic book movies, and I feel like this could finally be the turning point for this man's career, and he's earned it, dude. He's a damn good actor. Seen him in Prisoners, he's great in that too. The vibe that I'm sort of getting from that monologue is that it seems to sort of encapsulate so much of this movie. It makes me wonder how much of the thinker will be the ultimate player. Obviously, he's going to be working with the Suicide Squad at some point in this movie. But considering what his powers are, and that the Thinker being this, genius with like telepathic-like powers, I'm wondering if he maybe might be working with Starro to some capacity. Because I think the obvious conclusion to draw with the Thinker being in this movie is, the Starro, the parasitic hive mind, they might be using the Thinker to be able to go against the likes of a super being such as Starro. Because while we're only getting these moments of Starro, like the big scale visual effects of Starro, not even like just a full-on clean shot, like it's enough to let you know, no, it's definitely Starro, but we haven't seen any of, the Starro face huggers. And another side note, it's kind of funny to me how in the wake of Zack Snyder's Justice League, how Starro was, if I'm remembering this correctly, Starro was the first villain the Justice League had to fight against. Bottom line, he was a Justice League villain. That's going on, and hashtag restore the Snyderverse, which I'm all for. And then for the next DC live action property to be coming out through HBO Max and Warner Brothers is the Suicide Squad, whose villain will be Starro. It's kind of odd to me, just kind of interesting, that's all. Going back, I'm kind of wondering if maybe the obvious conclusion about the Thinker, because it's the Thinker, and if there's one thing I learned from watching the Thinker on the Flash TV show, you never really know what's up this guy's sleeve. So I maybe at first they will use the Thinker. Well, to deal with Starro, we need someone like the Thinker. But now I'm kind of wondering maybe the Thinker might be a bigger mastermind or is working in coordination with Starro as well. I just feel like that'd be a kind of a cool twist, but maybe not so cool if I accurately predicted something. I normally don't accurately predict things, and when I do, I way overly pat myself on the back, like too much, as if I'm the master theorist, when really 1 out of 100 I get right. What I'm really feeling is that there's just so much more to the Thinker than we're even realizing at this moment. His whole monologue seems to shift the whole tone of this trailer as compared to the first one, because the first trailer is a lot more fun. This one has a lot more of a serious tone to it, has a lot more of a sense of intensity and peril layered throughout from beginning to end, because when they're talking about supervillains and you guys are like a punchline, but this one like blessed act of rebellion, I'm forgetting exactly what the line is that he's saying, but talking about how they can restore their dignity, and then when you're getting to these images which look like they're from the finale dealing with Starro rising up from the ground, that stuff looks very intense, looks harsh. And how they're asking the Thinker, they have the scene that's in the first trailer when they're all taking turns giving, ground rules to the Thinker working with them. I mean, just come on, there's something there that, like, as much as these trailers are honing in on the new members of the Suicide Squad, people like Bloodsport, the returning characters like Harley Quinn, and then the fact that Starro is finally going to be in live action form, I feel like there's a lot more to the Think. There's a lot more thought. You got to be more thinking to the Thinker. Let John with the big vocabulary. All right, it's not my part. Oh, and editing this back, how could I not mention? I love Jai Courtney in the first Suicide Squad movie. I'm excited to see him back here again, but you actually see some real Boomerang action here, and as great as Jai Courtney was in the portrayal of Boomerang, I personally really loved him. I still felt like Boomerang didn't get to do much Boomerang stuff, and here looks like we're gonna get some, actual action sequences with him doing Boomerang stuff. So, hell yeah. And in this trailer too, you got to see Nathan Fillion as what a lot of people have been saying is probably the detachable kid. That's what TDK would stand for. And looking at the effects there, that just seems like a total blast. The fact that James Gunn and Nathan Fillion working together again is just super exciting to me, and to watch him be the detachable kid, it just seems like it's gonna be a blast. The effects looked appropriately goofy, but also cool at the same time. I said this before in the last trailer, but I especially got the vibe here with Ratcatcher 2. I feel like Ratcatcher 2 in a lot of ways might end up being somewhat of the heart of this movie, or someone who's more of the hero of the tale than we realize. I think by the end of the day, it's still gonna feel like a full-on ensemble flick, but I think with her, that's where I feel like a lot of the big surprises will come from. I think we're all expecting Idris Elba to do a great job as Bloodsport, and he does look like he's gonna deliver the goods. He looks incredibly awesome. Harley Quinn, Margot Robbie, who, by the way, I feel like is still severely underrated. I feel like she's not, but she also is. Do you guys get what I mean? We all know, yeah, live action Harley Quinn, Margot Robbie. Yeah, she does a great job. She's always great. But I don't feel like we don't praise her enough. I know her take on Harley Quinn is not for everybody, but watching her transgression from the first Suicide Squad movie to Birds of Prey to the portrayal that she's delivering here now, and how it feels like she's able to provide something a little bit different and a little bit more mature each and every time. I don't know, I just feel like we don't give her enough credit. I feel like we don't give enough credit to the beautiful work that Margot Robbie puts on display here. But that being said, I feel like what I've been loving about the marketing is there's these other characters here who I feel like will be the scene stealers. People like Polka Dot Man, people like Ratcatcher 2. I feel like there's been a lot of hype with John Cena because of the fact that the Peacemaker series was announced before we even got a trailer for the Suicide Squad. I gotta say, like, in both trailers, he does look great. Like, he seems really funny. I love the line that you get where you get a clearer sense of that. I forget exactly what it was stated as, but I think John Cena said something of how he's like a douchier Captain America. So intense about keeping peace that he will do as much violence as possible to keep the peace. Like, it could sometimes sound contradictory, which I think John Cena can pull off so well. I think what makes John Cena such an appealing personality is, yes, upon first appearance, like, he's this really big, buff, intimidating guy, but there's something about the way he does some of his dialogue in films especially, where if he's going for the badass direct line, it kind of comes off a little bit goofy. So I noticed that John Cena leaning more into comedy when it comes to taking on roles, even providing some of that comedy in movies like Bumblebee, but especially doing it here. This character who takes himself very serious and sometimes is saying stupid shit is a perfect John Cena role, because he can be badass when it comes to doing the action scenes, but the dialogue he can be really funny in. And I think you're gonna get that perfectly with Peacemaker. All the shots of Weasel look great. I'm kind of wondering with that line that the Thinker does say at the beginning of, like, one blessed act of rebellion. I don't know if the Thinker is trying to get them to, you know, like, hey, even though Amanda Waller put the detonator in the base of your skull, maybe if you rebel, you can still get out of this situation. I don't know if this is exactly what Thinker's trying to do, or I don't know if it has something to do with the fact that we're in this, like, Latin country. Corto Maltese, I want to say is what it is. There's a rebellion going on there, and I believe Alice Braga Solsaria is one of the leaders of the rebellion. So maybe the Suicide Squad is participating in this rebellion. Come to find out, they got a Starro on their hands they got to deal with. So I don't know if the Thinker's talking about that in terms of rebellion or meant something else. And, like, I don't know how politically commentary heavy this will get. If you follow James Gunn on Twitter, he can get pretty political. They're dealing with, you know, rebellion. Maybe there's some stuff that could get political. I don't know if I wanted to get, like, politically commentary heavy. I feel like a lot of us probably wouldn't. I'm not someone who is instantly offended by something like that. I'm not someone who goes, keep politics out. I'm not that kind of guy. However, I am hoping that James Gunn will go out of his way to write something more nuanced for what's going on there with that civil war happening in Corto Maltese. As it stands, you know, the vibes that I'm, especially from watching both trailers, I'm a big fan of the Suicide Squad DC animated movies like Assault on Arkham, Hell to Pay. It's not 100%, but I'm getting a bit of a vibe of kind of those movies here, where you'll have the humor, but it won't be a full-on comedy necessarily. It'll still be able to truly execute more dramatic, more intense sequences. Will feel a lot more potent than it was with the version of Suicide Squad that we got a few years ago. If I did have a concern, like, because I don't think the trailers are perfect. My concern is the fact of there are so many freaking characters, and you know, James Gunn is constantly saying, like, seriously, don't get too attached. When you are introducing a gazillion characters, and a lot of them feel like they're all from their own different type of genre. Some of them feel like they would definitely mesh in the same world, and the others feel like they don't. I guess that's the one concern I have, is by the time we see the movie, will it all correlate really well together? Will it all coalesce? Or will it feel like jarring? I don't think it will. I have faith in James Gunn. I think that's where a lot of us are actually coming from, is that I feel like James Gunn can knock it off the park. I don't love every James Gunn movie, so I'm by no means like a James Gunn stan, but I do have faith he'll pull this off. Like bringing Michael Rooker in here as Savant, he looks incredible, and I love that he has some of his players that he's worked with before, and he's bringing them in this movie. King Shark, you know, I talked a lot about him in the last trailer, and then watching King Shark here, and then, you know, knowing that Sylvester Stallone is voicing him, I thought his scenes in Guardians of the Galaxy 2 were a little cheesy, but James Gunn strikes me as the kind of director that once he works with an actor, he gets a better sense of how to continue working with them, how to direct them, and what roles to give them further down the road. So I think that what he will do with Sylvester Stallone, I know he's not doing the mocap, he's just doing the voice. I feel like we're in for something really special and incredibly quotable. I mean, we haven't really heard full-on lines yet, because he kind of seems like a more violent version of a Groot-like character, but I think it's going to be something special. I think there's a lot of great things to look forward to here. Joel Kinnaman, surprisingly, I'm very much drawn to in these trailers as well. Maybe it's the yellow shirt. I don't know. As we're looking at everything here, I'm just more and more excited for this film. I heard he shot this whole thing with IMAX cameras, and now that theaters are reopening in LA, I'm gonna try my best to see this on an IMAX. What do you guys think of this trailer? Leave your thoughts down below. I talked for way too long. Gotta edit the shit out of this one. Subscribe, click the notification bell, hit that like button. I'll catch you guys soon.